Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, a design-build company committed to remodeling the right way. Visit callmosby.com to get project inspiration for any room of your house.
From the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Thursday, February 29th. Now that's a date you don't get to say very often. Happy Leap Day. I'm Jonathan Ahl. Abortion rights activists in Missouri have faced a lot of obstacles to legalize the procedure, including Republican lawmakers who want to stymie a ballot initiative.
You know, Missourians do not want to legalize abortions in the state. We want to make sure that we continue be pro-life and definitely protect the unborn.
Coming up on The Gateway, Jason Rosenbaum explains why backers of a ballot item legalizing abortion are cautiously optimistic about the months ahead. Former President Donald Trump is vowing to appeal a judge's ruling striking his name from Illinois' primary ballot. Dave McKinney has more.
Judge Tracy Porter sided with objectors that Trump's role in the fatal January 6th attack at the Capitol disqualifies him as a presidential candidate. But she stayed her order until Friday to give Trump time to wage an appeal in state court, which his campaign said he would do quickly. A Trump spokesman called Porter's ruling unconstitutional. But attorney Karen Lederer, who represents the group seeking to remove Trump from the ballot, praised Porter's decision as, quote, a very important victory.
She has reviewed the extensive body of evidence and determined that he's disqualified from the presidency.
Porter said a ruling could be upended by an expected U.S. Supreme Court decision on Colorado's bid to disqualify Trump. This is Dave McKinney.
The Missouri House gave initial approval yesterday to legislation that would stop public funding, including Medicaid reimbursements, from going to any abortion facilities in the state, including affiliates. That means Planned Parenthood clinics in the state, which do not currently provide abortions, but do offer other reproductive health services like contraceptive access and cancer screenings, would not receive public funds. Representative Cody Smith is the House Budget Chair and the sponsor of the bill.
This bill, House Bill 2634, would seek to simply codify that in statute and say that we are not going to allow abortion providers or their affiliates to be reimbursed through our state's Medicaid program.
The action from the House comes after previous efforts to disallow funding to abortion providers through the state's budget have failed due to rulings from the Missouri Supreme Court. More than 450 musicians from St. Louis and across the U.S. are calling for leaders at radio station KDHX to step down. As St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis reports, the call comes a month after more than 150 business owners criticized station leadership.
In a letter shared Tuesday, the artist Steve Ewing, musicians from the Mighty Pines, and others said Executive Director Kelly Wells and the station's board aren't serving the community. It follows numerous complaints and tension between management and volunteers after the station dismissed more than 20 DJs last year. Sheila Shapari is a musician and a former KDHX volunteer who helped write the letter. She says artists want the station to thrive and support other artists.
It's going to be hard, but it's not an insurmountable feat that we are able to get it back to what it was, which has all of that community advocacy built in and has us all working together.
KDHX leaders say in a statement that they will stick to their strategic plan and spotlight musical talent. I'm Chad Davis, St. Louis Public Radio.
More than 15,000 people in the St. Louis region who were jailed in Ferguson can receive money from a $4.5 million class action settlement. The city of Ferguson settled a lawsuit by Arch City defenders in 2015. The suit alleges the city's court systems jailed people for inability to pay traffic fines and fees. Maureen Hanlon is an attorney for Arch City defenders. She says most people jailed were entangled in Ferguson's court system.
They were expected to pay a fine, and then if they couldn't pay it or they couldn't appear, warrants would go out for their arrest, and then often even additional charges would be added.
People who were jailed in Ferguson between February 2010 and December 2022 are eligible for a payout. Firefighters with the National Forest Service spent the night working to contain 2 wildfires in the Mark Twain National Forest, affecting more than 1,000 acres. The Beeson Hollow Fire, about 30 miles south of Rolla, has spread to 650 acres. The Barn Log Fire, about 150 miles southwest of St. Louis, has expanded to about 400 acres. Forest officials report the fires are contained, but people may encounter smoke near these fires, and windy conditions could spread smoke into surrounding areas. Abortion rights activists in Missouri are feeling a surge of momentum around a ballot measure legalizing the procedure. But foes of abortion rights are fighting the effort, both inside and outside of the state legislature. St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum reports.
Okay, I signed. All right, thank you.
It's a weekday night at the Pageant Music Venue in St. Louis, and a packed crowd isn't here to see a cutting-edge band perform, but to sign the Missourians for Constitutional Freedom measure to legalize abortion in the state. The proposal would place language in Missouri's Constitution protecting abortion up to what's known as fetal viability, which is the point where a fetus could survive outside of the womb without extraordinary medical intervention. And the prospect of undoing the state's ban on most abortions drew people like Olivet resident Anola Proctor to sign her name.
Reproductive rights involve health care, and doctors and women should be making the decisions about their own health care.
Missourians for Constitutional Freedom's ballot item went through a rough patch last year. That includes lengthy legal fights over how the amendment is described to voters and internal disagreement over the language within the initiative. But since mid-January, the group raised millions of dollars and prompted thousands of people like Lisa Williams to volunteer to get signatures.
What's at stake is the right of all Missourians to choose for themselves whether or when they will start a family and to get the health care that they want and need in their own community. That currently is not the case in Missouri.
One of the reasons why Missouri's abortion rights backers are optimistic is because similar proposals have found favor in other states and ones that lean Republican. Ohio voters approved a constitutional amendment protecting abortion rights, while states like Kentucky and Kansas voted down measures that could have paved the way for restrictions. Kyle Kondik is with Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball, a University of Virginia-based service that analyzes federal elections. He says it's possible for a GOP-leaning state to back measures protecting abortion rights while still supporting Republican candidates who back strict bans.
The median position on abortion rights is closer to what the ballot issue is arguing than what the current law is.
But abortion rights opponents in Missouri are not giving Missourians for Constitutional Freedom's measure a free pass. Stephanie Bell of Missouri Stands With Women says her group, which was formed to oppose abortion legalization measures, will try to convince people not to sign the petition.
It's all on the line. That's what we're seeing in other states. If these extreme measures pass, the Democrats will work through the legislature and through the courts to repeal every pro-life measure we've enacted over the last many years.
At the same time, Republicans in the legislature, like Senator Denny Hoskins of Warrensburg, are backing a plan to have voters decide on a ballot item raising the bar to amend the Constitution before any abortion legalization proposal. That could make Missourians for Constitutional Freedom's measure much more difficult to pass later in the year.
Missouri is definitely a pro-life state, and I'm definitely pro-life. I think that Missourians do not want to legalize abortions in the state. We want to make sure that we continue be pro-life and definitely protect the unborn.
But efforts to make it harder to amend state constitutions failed in states like Arkansas and Ohio. Tori Schaefer with the American Civil Liberties Union of Missouri says she expects it will fall flat here.
Regardless of what politicians in Jefferson City decide, Missourians are going to see right through it either way. They're going to see it as a trick and a tool to try and take their right to direct democracy away.
If backers of the abortion legalization initiative get roughly 171,000 signatures by early May, their proposal could go before voters either in August or November. I'm Jason Rosenbaum, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Fred Ehrlich edited that report. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Jonathan Ahl, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.